What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 446 of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast. I am your host, as always, Tony Mango, and this is the Hot Tags edition of the week, where I'll be breaking down some of the current events, rumors, news, gossip, and other things that went down in the world of professional wrestling over the past few days. But let me preface this episode with a little bit of a heads up, I guess. I don't know, really. It's just kind of the intro. Not a whole lot of energy to do a big podcast today. A lot of bad stuff in the world going on. It's just really just too much to handle in a lot of different ways and stuff. And everybody needs a little bit of a break. I'm not fully giving myself a full break about everything, but I am going to try to give myself a little bit of a break over these next bunch of days or so. And that includes just even tonight. You know, my allergies are bothering me. I'm not feeling like the happiest mood about the world that's going on in the world of professional wrestling too. And there's some topics here that aren't just really stuff to really have a fun podcast about. So this is going to be one of those short ones. It's really just kind of there to give you guys a quick something to listen to. I apologize for anybody who wanted a full hour long back and forth between Rob and I or something, but I wanted to give Rob some time off too. Same thing with Callum. You know, we could use it. And that's going to be for the rest of this week too. So this is also kind of a little bit of like a heads up for the channel and some different things like that. So I guess let me just address that stuff first. Over the course of the next bunch of days or so, we're not going to really have like a main event the way that we normally would do. Instead, on Saturday, at the very least, a couple hours probably from when you're listening to this, we are having the first episode, or episode 0 technically, of Paul Heyman's SmackDown that Rob and Callum recorded a little while ago. And that's your main thing for this week. I was going to do some other stuff, but to be perfectly honest, my birthday is coming up and I kind of want to take a little bit of the week for just like mental health reasons and just to kind of take advantage of some fun time when I can. And we all need breaks and stuff like that. So no other main event this week. Maybe a dark cast or something, maybe not. I don't really know. And, we could all use this week off and stuff. I'm kind of repeating myself a little bit. Sorry. Maybe another hot tags, probably at the end of the week or so, maybe on Sunday or something. I'm not entirely sure, but you'll see it when it's up. And obviously, if you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and you ring that little notification bell, the notification bell is to give you the notifications of when things are up. Or if you follow the Facebook and Twitter accounts, that's Mark at Moment, then you'll be aware of if something gets up on the website. So you might not be hearing other than the Paul Heyman SmackDown. You might not hear from us for a week or whatever like that, but by the next hot tags, maybe we'll have some other things we're going to talk about and maybe some bigger discussions on different things and stuff. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. So let me just knock out some hot tags then, in whatever way that I kind of can. The Undertaker, The Last Ride, Chapter 4, The Battle Within, aired last Sunday. Got a chance to check that out. I recommend it, just same as I've done with all the other episodes of this. I think it's a great series. I really enjoy the look on Undertaker's career in a way that we've never really been able to get to see before, and this episode follows suit with the previous 3. Just check it out when you get a chance to. Definitely see it. Don't skip it. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that one, though. I mean, I really just think that you should be watching it. So it's really more so just me plugging things than anything like that. Other than that, let's talk about the fact that Kris Statlander is out. She has a torn ACL, so she's out for a while with that injury. That's a downer. Not much to say on it. That just sucks. And that's one less person, her and Britt Baker, and all the other people that aren't able to compete, whether it be an injury like Awesome Kong, or travel issues like Bea Priestley, or all the varieties of different things. The AEW's women's division is really lacking right now, and now they've got Anna Jay at the very least. That's another person that they brought in, and they just signed. I'm forgetting how to pronounce her name. Abaddon. Sorry, blanking on it. My mind's a mess. So something to keep in mind. Speaking of COVID, there was a WWE positive test in some fashion, some developmental talent. It seems like they don't want to really say who it is. I don't really blame them, but some reports are saying that it might be an NXT female superstar, and that that person was there around June 9th or so. So I obviously don't know. I'm not the type that really honestly is going to start to like try to hunt down the answers for that kind of stuff. But when it comes to some people, I mean, there's a possibility that like it could be this person or that person or that person and stuff. And off the top of my head, I can't really think of anybody that way. I would say, oh, it's this person. Could be somebody in the crowd. I don't know. I guess we'll find out more information at some point in the future if we find it out. Let's see. Let's go with another story here. Well, offshoot of that a little bit, it seems like they're going to have to start wearing the masks again. They have had these fans in the crowd, which is weird, and that's just not a really good idea. The fans in the crowd, quote unquote, are friends of the wrestlers and they're family of the wrestlers, and there's some diehard fans and stuff, and a lot of people are upset about that. I pretty much agree. I think that that's risking it a little bit. So that's not really a great story either. Neither is the next couple of stories to talk about. It's just, yeah. Hashtag speaking out is a thing that's going around right now. It's essentially people that feel thankfully good enough at this point to step forward and talk about some sexual abuse, some misconduct, whatever you want to call it, some allegations. You should say that. It's allegedly all these different things, these accusations and stuff of lots and lots and lots of people in the pro wrestling scene. It's the list keeps going on and on. I mean, you can start Googling things and you're going to see people from just the indies. You're going to see people from NXT UK. You're going to see somebody from AEW, for instance. So it's not really the type of thing that I should be speaking about. I don't know the people involved. It's a very complicated legal issue. It's a very complicated personal issue. It's something that is kind of self-explanatory as well. Like if bad people do bad things, then hopefully they get punished for it and karma comes around and bites them in the ass. And if good people are accused of things that they didn't do, then hopefully as quickly as possible, those allegations get pushed aside and forgotten about entirely, because that's not fair at all to good people to be treated as if they're not for whatever reason. But who knows? And who knows what all the different spectrum of all the different things are for all the different cases of all the different things. So remember, everybody, things are not as black and white as they are on even some TV shows and movies and stuff like that. I mean, the world doesn't work that way. It's all just this weird, bland, weird, oddball, gray area type stuff. So, not the type of thing you really have a full podcast about. And I don't know. I mean, more information about that. It's at some point, I'm sure is going to come down the road and we'll probably address it in some fashion. For instance, one of the things that happened that's come out of this, potentially, it might not necessarily 100% be about this, but it seems like that's the case, is that gentleman Jack Gallagher was released from WWE. There is no confirmation that this is related to that, or if that's like the straw that broke the camel's back, or if it's completely unrelated. But he has been released from WWE. Their statement just basically says he's been released, and that's the end of it. So you can speculate all you want. I thought that he was already on his way out of WWE to begin with. I have no reason to necessarily like know that or anything. Like, I don't know any behind the scenes information, but it just seemed like that was the case. Like, he got those weird tattoos and he'd been kind of babyface, kind of heel, putting people over for a while, not getting any kind of a solid push. So it didn't seem like his heart was really in it. And I thought that he was actually going to leave. And I don't know, maybe that's part of it too. The point being, we don't know exactly why he was released or if he quit or what all that entails, but gentleman Jack Gallagher no longer on the WWE roster, despite the fact that he wrestled tonight. But that's not really the case because he didn't actually wrestle tonight. They recorded that in advance. He lost to Jay Gallus on 205 Live, for anybody who is curious about that. And before I go through the whole TV show list and talk about anything that I feel like we need to talk about, let me just throw out some quick plugs. If you are interested in picking up some merch, go ahead to the shops on TeePublic and Redbubble, at Smark Moment, at Fanboys Anonymous, and at A Mango Tees to pick up a t-shirt or stickers or pins or mugs or water bottles or, I don't know, shower curtains. There's a whole variety of different merchandise options and all different types of designs. So check them out if you're interested. Another way that you can help out the channel on the monetary side of things is if you have a little spare change that you want to toss our way through the Patreon, go ahead and do that. $1 and up, all that is greatly appreciated. It all means quite a bit, and all helps out quite a bit as well to not just, keep this engine running, but also to be a motivator and also to make sure that I can set time aside to do things that you specifically want us to do, like the Pick Your Poison tier, where you can specifically request some kind of a gimmick or a feature of some sort, like a podcast or an article on the website or something like that. But even $10 and up gives you access to the Dark Casts, which are Patreon exclusive episodes. So show some love to both fanboysanonymous.com and for Smark Moment. If you don't know what fanboysanonymous.com is, go ahead and check that out, because that is my website that I do movie reviews and talk about other kinds of topics on that geek culture spectrum, TV stuff, video games, comic books, anything that's along that kind of wavelength is what you'll find over there. So check that out, and who knows what content's going to pop up when. So TV talk. Let me just knock this out of the way a little bit. Dynamite, to be perfectly honest with you, did not watch Dynamite. I tracked the results and everything, but I didn't watch more than about 10 seconds of it. I just didn't get around to it. So can't tell you anything about it other than just by the results themselves. It seems like Ricky Starks is now in AEW, so that's pretty interesting, where he went from NWA over to AEW, and I don't really blame him necessarily, because AEW is the bigger company right now, but we'll see how his future goes with that. Seems like we set up some things for Fighter Fest, like Hikaru Shida is going to fight Penelope Ford, which is good, and that Chris Jericho is going to fight Orange Cassidy. Big fan of that people are going to beat him into a pulp, and the little jokes that are like that. I like that quite a bit. On Raw, we had a surprise with Christian coming out of his retirement, sort of, in an unsanctioned match, because Orton challenged him to that earlier in the night, and eventually they set up a whole idea where it ended up paying off that Ric Flair low-blowed Christian, and Orton was served up. Christian was served up on a platter for Orton, so Orton punted him and pinned him, and that was that. Christian, I'm assuming, is out for a while, but he might might pop back up. Those are how words work. For Extreme Rules or for SummerSlam, I'm going to probably try to write a little bit about that at some point. I'm not entirely sure in what fashion or whatever, but we'll see how that plays out. Kevin Owens beat Angel Garza, MVP and Bobby Lashley. We're talking about how Drew McIntyre should give them a rematch, and Lashley wants a divorce from Lana, so that's good to see that story is going to potentially end. Viking Profits teamed up again against Akira Tozawa's Ninjas, and Big Show returned to help them out for some reason. That's a thing. Dominic attacked Seth Rollins. It seems like that's going in that direction, which I'm not opposed to. I was a big fan of the whole idea that Drew McIntyre and R-Truth were supposed to be putting their titles on the line, and Drew McIntyre talked to R-Truth about it, who said that he was going to get that fixed, and he changed it to be that only Drew McIntyre's title was on the line. I thought that was pretty funny. And they retained over Lashley and MVP. The Iconics beat Liv Morgan and Natalya, which led to a thing where Natalya was pissed at Liv Morgan for them losing and complaining about how both she and Lana were talking about how they're sick of being blamed for everybody's shortcomings. I don't know if that's going to lead to them being a tag team, but that's kind of blah. I'm not really interested in that feud or story or whatever it is. I am interested in MVP potentially bringing Apollo Crews in, and Apollo Crews saying he doesn't want his help, but also cheating to beat Shelton Benjamin. I think that's pretty interesting. Are we going to get Shelton in MVP's group? Is Apollo Crews going to join? Is Crews going to turn heel? Maybe somewhere down the line he fights Kevin Owens. Something to keep track of. And Asuka defeated Nia Jax to retain the women's championship. Kind of makes me wonder why they didn't just do that at Backlash. Really not a fan of that. Let's see. And NXT, we had Imperium retain the tag titles over Breezango. Big fan of Breezango making fun of Imperium's entrance. Like that quite a bit. Velveteen Dream is a solo act. He is not really a partner of Dexter Lumis, so I'm wondering where the feud's going to go or where that storyline's going to go in some fashion. Maybe they'll end up feuding. I don't know. Damian Priest is pretty much a babyface at this point because he beat Killian Dane and Cameron Grimes slashed his tires. They're going to have a match, Priest and Grimes, later down the road next week. Aaliyah beat Xia Li by pinfall with a little help from Robert Stone throwing up in the ring. So they're keeping on this whole story of Robert Stone and Aaliyah, and I like that. You know, it's a way to get both of them. They're kind of like losers that are going to shack up together, it seems. So that's good. I like Timothy Thatcher teaching people submission moves. That kind of puts him over a little bit. Wasn't the biggest fan of the Undisputed Therapy session with Roderick Strong being like haunted by the whole idea of being put in the trunk by Dexter Lumis. Wasn't really doing too much for me, but I am very, very curious about the upcoming North American title triple threat match. Keith Lee is going to defend against Johnny Gargano and Finn Balor, and the winner of that is going to face Adam Cole on July 8th for a winner-takes-all match. So we're going to most likely get some kind of a double DQ, double count-out, no contest type of thing, so that way people don't actually be double champions. But I'm assuming, and I might be dead wrong about this, I'm assuming that Keith Lee retains the title, and then he is on its way to beat Cole, and Karrion Kross attacks both of them. We'll see. I don't know. Dakota Kai beat Kaden Carter by submission. We got a vignette that hyped up Mercedes Martinez, saying that she's coming soon. I could hear my nose getting really stuffed up here. Apologies, everybody. She should not be coming soon. She has wrestled a bunch of different times already. She was in 2 different Mae Young Classic tournaments, and she's been a part of the roster for a couple of months. So she's not coming soon. She's coming back. It's a different story. Bronson Reed beat Leon Ruff because Leon Ruff is there just to get his ass beat by a bunch of different people. And Bronson Reed called out Karrion Kross. So next week, Karrion Kross is going to beat Bronson Reed. We could bet that for sure. And we got a thing with Santos Escobar, Raul Mendoza, and Joaquin Wilde taking out Drake Maverick and putting him through a table on the outside. And Bayley and Sasha Banks retain the women's titles, tag titles, over Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart. Interesting match with an interesting end with Io Shirai coming out and attacking Banks and Bayley. So I guess she's babyface and she's feuding with the tag champs. I don't quite understand where they're going with that direction, but it's interesting at the very least. And most recently we had on SmackDown, Matt Riddle made his debut. He popped up and beat AJ Styles in a match after the Intercontinental Championship presentation, where it was basically that Daniel Bryan was forced to put, well, he wasn't really forced, but he was convinced by AJ Styles to put the belt around him, and they had a whole discussion about handouts and some different things like that. But Riddle beat Styles, so that gives some kind of credibility to the idea that we might get a feud between those two in the future, maybe for SummerSlam or so. Jeff Hardy and Sheamus talked a little bit about some stuff that was really kind of a waste. It's like, hey, Sheamus is a bully, and Sheamus is like, I'm going to toast you next week. I don't really understand where they're going in that direction, but whatever. Shorty G beat Mojo Rawley. Nothing really going on there. Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose were still feuding. That was sort of a waste of a segment. New Day beat Lucha House Party. I don't feel like that really served much of a purpose, other than to just get something to happen to where Cesaro and Nakamura could attack the New Day. So that happened, though. I mean, we're getting a tag title match at some point between those two, so that's like bare minimum type stuff. Nikki Cross is still feuding with Sasha Banks and Bayley. They had a whole match where Banks beat Cross, not feeling any of that. And the Firefly Funhouse basically said that Bray Wyatt is still feuding with Braun Strowman. So the theme of SmackDown was these people that are feuding, they're still feuding, wait until next week. Not really the best episode of SmackDown when it comes to that. And that's it. That's all to really talk about as far as I'm concerned. Sorry for this not being the most entertaining, thrilling episode of the Hot Tags, but you guys got 2 tier lists this week, and you got another podcast that's coming up a little bit early and stuff, so hopefully that'll hold you over a little bit until the next time that we do these kind of things, and when that happens, you'll be aware of that by just following us all over the place here, and subscribing, and doing all the things that you normally do. So by all means, drop a comment below. Tell us your thoughts on what's going on in these hot topics. Hot topics. I don't know, calling it hot topics. These hot tags. Don't tell us what's happening on Hot Topic. Some people buying some weird clothes and a bunch of pop figures on the wall and stuff. But go ahead and do that. Stay safe. Stay a good person in this world, and I will talk to you when I talk to you. We'll see you when we see you, everybody. Thanks for listening to this. Thank you for all your support for Smark Moment, and we'll see you next time. But for now, this has been another Smark Moment, and I'm being counted out.